Drink in my hand. Guys, it's time for happy hour. You guys know the drill. I want to know where you are. I want to know what you're drinking. Say hi in the comments. If you're a first timer, put 3 stars so we know. Got a little Eric Church to get us kicked off today. Guys, Wednesday's done. Hump day's over. July is here. It's time to put something in your glass and cheers to happy hour. Check in with me in the comments. I want to know who's here today. Leah, what's up? First one in the house today. Leah, what are you drinking? Y'all, I forgot about Eric Church. Shame on me. I'm going to be jamming out this weekend, July 4th style. Definitely some Eric Church. Sharon, what is up in Fredericksburg? Nothing yet. Okay, well, we need to work on that, Sharon. You got a little bit of time. Leah's having some LaCroix, still working. I hear that. I hear that. Brian, what is up? Having some Sauvignon Blanc. Are you doing some domestic Sauv Blanc? Are you doing maybe some French Sauv Blanc or some Chilean Sauv Blanc? Eric and Asha, good to see you guys. Also having Skeleton Key White. That's what I'm drinking today, guys. Woo! Me too, Leah. Love me some Eric Church. Y'all, it is July 1st. It is over. It's the end of the work day. I know a few of you might be, finishing up a few things, but it's hump day. We're done with hump day. It's time to put something in your glass. It's time to cheers. We're going to be talking about all things July 4th white wine pairings today. You're going to be really set with a game plan going into the weekend. Alan in Canada. It's Happy Canada Day, guys. I forgot about that. Guys, it is Canada Day. He's having a G&T to celebrate. Alan, it's always good to see our friend in Toronto here with us. So cheers to you, friend. Happy Canada Day, Alan. Reed's in Ruidoso, New Mexico, having some Vidal Blanc. Hey, I love that. Not a lot of people know about that grape, guys. You should go check out Vidal. It's a really good, cold, hardy grape. Grows really well in cooler temperatures. So, well, Eric Church is telling me it's time to kick things off. Let's add a few more folks. So we got in Catherine in San Antonio having some Buena Suerte Mourvedre. I love it. Rick is back, checking in from Tulsa. I like it. Having a little Rhone blend, it sounds like, from Paso Robles. Sarah at South Padre, you are doing it right on the beach, drinking some Moscow Mules. I love it. Randy and Donna in Clear Lake drinking some Pinot Noir. Totally fine. I know, guys, it's White Wine Wednesday, so you are kind of breaking the rules there, but that's okay. Guys, we just want you to put something in your glass, mark the end of the workday with us, and so you're doing it right. Guys, first up, I want to say happy hour. It's Wednesday's over. That means it's all downhill from here. We're headed into the holiday weekend. It's going to be easy. We're almost there. July has kicked off. I can already feel that the second half of 2020 is going to be exponentially better than the first half of 2020. I mean, it's not going to take much because the first half was crazy, but I'm feeling really, really good about it. I've had a great Wednesday, good July 1st. I'm excited to hang out with you guys, and I couldn't be more stoked. I just had so much fun putting together this pairing guide for this weekend, specifically about white wines that go with things that we eat on July 4th. So before I go that far, if you haven't checked in, make sure you check in the comments. I'll come back and say hi to a few more folks. Let's talk about what I'm drinking. William Chris Wine of the Day. Guys, this is Skeleton Key White. You guys know we make a Skeleton Key Cab and a Skeleton Key Red. I heard rumors of a Skeleton Key Rosé. You didn't hear that. But I'm having the white today for White Wine Wednesday, so cheers to all of you. Okay, this is definitely a full-bodied white. The first thing I notice is the weight of the wine, right? When we talk about body in wine, remember we're kind of talking about how heavy it is, how much it fills up our mouth. We usually compare it to milk or water. So we talk about like water, skim milk, 2% milk, whole milk, right? And as you go up, the fuller in body that is, the kind of almost richer it is in your mouth. This is definitely a full-bodied white wine. It has, for me, notes of like yellow apple on the nose. Maybe a little tiny touch of that almost like caramel, butter caramel note. Y'all remember those old, like, what were they called? Werner's Original candies? There's a little bit of that, like Werner's Original, almost butterscotchy note. But on the palate, it's a lot more tart. It's not really candied or anything like that. So I don't want you to think sweet. This is a fully dry wine. And I'm having to slurp up my saliva. So, you know, body's giving you saliva. It's got to have good acid. So I get more of like a tart apple, like a little bit underripe apple. Still kind of that like yellow apple, maybe red delicious. But for sure tart and acidic. I get a little bit of that kind of like, I don't want to call it butter because I know a lot of your brains are immediately going to think like Napa Chardonnay buttery. That's not what this is. This is just like headed in that direction, a little bit of extra richness, maybe like a sweet cream almost. Yeah, this is really tasty. And actually, it's a kind of wine that we're going to talk about in the pairing guide today. But I want to tell you this did spend 12 months in oak, about 20% of which was new. So it makes sense. We're starting to get that malolactic fermentation or malolactic conversion note of like maybe cream, maybe a little tiny bit of butter, because that's what happens when malic acid converts into lactic acid. So it's the same acid that's in anything with lactose. So food-wise, I'm going to go here with lobster. Guys, if you have that richer seafood kind of note, especially if you're going to put a lot of butter on top, these fuller bodied white wines are really good for that. And like we're going to talk about today, grilled chicken and grilled salmon. Okay, both of those are going to go really, really nicely with a wine like this. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So let's talk wine nerdery. But first, let's all take a drink. Happy hour. Let's see who else has shown up since we got kicked off. We got Christian and Steph in Stonewall having some top shelf margs. I love it. Deborah in Lubbock having some Skeleton Key White as well. Sam is having some Picpoul in San Antonio. Sam, is that Lost Straws Picpoul? Also, I heard a rumor we might have bottled or might be bottling our Picpoul this week. I'm really excited about that. We're going to talk about Picpoul today. Bill and Monica in Lake Jackson. Bill's having Dos Equis. It's okay if you forgot it was White Wine Wednesday. There's going to be more Wednesdays to drink white wine. And I'm going to tell you all about the white wines you should be drinking this weekend. So maybe let's jump into that. Guys, there are 4 important food groups that pertain to white wine and July 4th. So y'all know I've been doing this themed thing. We started out with British bubbles because that's who we declared independence from. We did English bubbles on day 1. Yesterday we did the wine that they used to cheers during the Declaration of Independence signing, which was Madeira. Today we're doing white wine pairings for 4th of July food. Okay, the 4 important, yes, we're not doing 3, right? The 4 important food groups for July 4th that pertain to white wine are pregame. So yes, just straight like, what am I going to drink while I'm preparing everything while I'm grilling? So it's its own food group. It gets its own pairing. So category 1 is pregame. Category 2 is chicken. Category 3 is fish. And category 4 is the all-American apple pie. All right. So we're going to talk about those 4 food groups. I want you guys to post in the comments if you have questions, if you already have plans for what you're going to be eating and you want to know if there are any good white wines to pair with it, or if you have white wines in the house already and you want to know what food you should drink it with, or maybe it should just be a pregame wine. So let's start with this. I'm going to put that up on the screen. Guys, first of all, let's talk about the pregame, because we know that 4th of July food prep, there's a lot of like grilling, there's a lot of like work in the kitchen, just like there is for any holiday meal. And it's important to know what to drink while you're pre-gaming for the actual eating of all the food and stuff, okay? Now, you're gonna snack, you're gonna have like chips and pretzels and nuts and all those kinds of like snacky things, popcorn, I'm sure. But just to focus on the wine itself, especially because it's gonna be hot for almost all of us who are on this, it's gonna be hot outside. You're probably gonna be spending some time at the grill. if you're like most Americans, okay? Nothing wrong with that if you're doing it in Canada too. We love our Canadian neighbors. But during pregame, you're gonna want something that's high in acid. You want something that's lighter in body. It's usually gonna be lower in alcohol, so you don't get trashy faced before the real show starts, and you can still appreciate eating and drinking later on in the day. Okay, so pregame, and I actually called it While You Grill, and I'm gonna post this. Don't worry, I'm gonna post all these styles of wine in the comments so you can come back and look at them. First up, While You Grill, high acid, light bodied whites like Picpoul, Vinho Verde, which is green wine, okay, and Friulano. And I tried to add some categories of some wines that you might not have heard. So these varieties you might not have been exposed to. So Friulano was one of those. This comes from Northeast Italy. And it is incredible. It very often gets confused with Sauvignon Blanc, but it is not. In my opinion, it tastes a little bit better than Sauvignon Blanc and usually doesn't carry as much of like herbal tones that Sauvignon Blanc can have, that grassy note. So great, high, refreshing. I always say it's like the wine version of lemonade or limeade. Okay, so yeah, if you're gonna do, shrimp cocktails, the great thing about this is it's gonna cut through the richness of that shrimp. I think that's a great way to go. You could do New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. For me, I think sometimes those can get even like ripe and a little bit high in alcohol in warmer years. And maybe like I'm going to save that New Zealand Sauv Blanc for maybe and this is the category we're going to talk about next, some of my grilled chicken. So love this. Let's talk about round two. Okay, so we got pregame down, right? We're going to talk pregame while you grill, high acid, light bodied whites. Cool. All right. Category number 2 is chicken. Now, chicken for me can show up in a lot of different ways. So we're going to talk about 3 different ways the chicken shows up and what you should be drinking for each of them. The first way that a lot of people do chicken is grilling it. All right. So let's talk about grilling chicken and what white wines you should be drinking with this grilled chicken. So first up, if you're going to do just a pretty straightforward, not a ton of seasoning, not a lot of sauce or anything like that, you're going to do just a pretty straightforward grilled chicken. I'm going to do unoaked, full-bodied whites. Okay, think Chardonnay that hasn't seen a lot of oak. Okay, you could also do white Rhone blends here. I'm going to talk about those a little bit later. I think they're actually a better fit for the salmon, but you could do that. So a wine like Skeleton Key, you could totally do, even though it's just got a tiny touch of oak on it. So I would either say unoaked or lightly oaked, full-bodied white wines like Chardonnay. If you do herbal seasoning, and this goes back to my comment about Brian's New Zealand Sauv Blanc rec. If you do herbal seasoning like rosemary or thyme, any kind of like dried green herbs on the chicken, go for an herbal white wine like a Gruner Veltliner or a Sauvignon Blanc is also a good choice. So you kind of match that herbal note in your seasoning with the herbal note in some of these white wines. I prefer Gruner over Sauv Blanc in this case. I think it's delicious. I just generally prefer Gruner. I love the little bit of like herbaceousness it brings, really high acid coming from Austria. And in ripe years can show us a really incredible intensity of fruit. So I'm going to go Gruner here. Second way that chicken shows up on 4th of July. What do you guys think I'm going to say? Second way that chicken shows up on 4th of July. Fried, right? Good old fried chicken, right? Everybody loves them some fried chicken. So let's talk about when you're eating fried chicken, what you should be drinking is sparkling wine. Okay. This is a no-brainer. I'm not going to go at length here. We've talked about this a lot. Guys, sparkling white wine is incredible with fried chicken. Champagne is my go-to. I think it's the best thing you could possibly do for fried chicken. But if you like drinking maybe a domestic sparkling wine producer, our Method Champenois from William Chris, perfect for fried chicken. Grab you some Method Champenois. I would also say Iron Horse out of Sonoma. Anthony, he and I are both huge lovers of Iron Horse. It's my favorite domestic sparkling producer. That's pretty much all they produce. I mean, they have like one Pinot Noir, one Chardonnay, but like they kill at sparkling wine. And so check them out. But sparkling wine and fried chicken, that's all we need to say. We got other stuff to talk about. Get you some champagne or some sparkling wine. Our pet nat even would go great with this. The third way chicken shows up on 4th of July. All right. The third way, and this is like probably pretty common for a lot of people. I know we did this a lot when I was growing up on 4th of July. Barbecue chicken with that sticky sweet goodness. You know, when you slather it with like a sweet sticky barbecue sauce that's pretty intense in flavor and it's just covered in barbecue sauce. That's okay. Just go with an equally as intense wine. But for me, there's no other choice here. Just go with Gewurztraminer. The richness of the fruit sometimes, and actually a lot of times, they leave a little bit of residual sugar in the Gewurztraminer. So that sticky, sugary, intense barbecue sauce pairing with the intensity of aroma and fruit, a little bit of spice that usually comes in Gewurztraminer, actually means like spiced traminer. It's actually the name of the grape, is going to go so well with that incredible barbecue chicken. Do not sleep on Gewurztraminer. And remind me to tell you the other thing on this list that it could go with, even though I didn't list it primarily. Gewurz is going to be a winner on July 4th for white wine because of how many different things on the table it can go with. So get you a bottle of Gewurz. It's also not expensive, guys. It's really good and it's not expensive. All right. Love it. So that covers chicken. We did grilled, we did fried, we did barbecue. Okay, so we got pregame and chicken out of the way. Let's talk about fish for a sec. All right. For me, I really think in two different categories of fish. And those who know me on the William Chris team, I don't typically tend towards fish. So if there are other folks here who have suggestions, these have been my most successful pairings in the past for myself and for other people. If I'm going to go salmon, right, which isn't this like lean, clean white fish, right? It's the opposite of that. You need something that has more weight. So back to that original conversation about the grilled chicken, I want to go with a full-bodied white wine. And here I actually tend towards like a white Rioja or a white Rhone blend. So going back again to Skeleton Key White here, this is mostly Roussanne. And so a wine like this is going to go great with salmon. All right, let's all cheers to that. I've been talking for a while, a little parched. Cheers, guys. Happy hour. Yes, salmon with this. And the thing about white wine is even if they're full-bodied, they still traditionally carry a good line of acid that's going to help cut through any of the food. Remember, acid cuts through food. I'm sure you've seen all those cooking shows. That's why we like spritz a little bit of lemon or lime. That's why we use pickles for things. It adds acid. So the acid in wine is always going to help be food friendly. Second category of fish is white fish, especially if you're going to do like fish tacos. I know a lot of folks that like to do fish tacos on 4th of July. Cheers, Catherine. Good to see you. Glad you can make it. So white fish, I'm going to go back to that original pregame category. All those zippy whites, those high acid whites are also going to be great here. I added a new one in this list, Verdejo. If you're not familiar with Verdejo, go seek it out. Incredible, incredible zippy white wine from Spain at a really phenomenal price point. You're going to love this wine. It is going to remind a lot of you of like a Picpoul. It's going to remind you of, man, what else am I thinking? It's going to remind you somewhat of a Sauvignon Blanc, actually. Good acid. And guys, Vinho Verde is like the cheapest wine out there. And if you get like an $8 to $10 one, even the $8 to $10 ones are so great. Just don't expect a lot out of them. These are usually Vinho Verde wines are usually pretty simple wines, but it also makes it easy to drink more, which is kind of also not as bad because they're usually lower in alcohol. So zippy whites with your white fish and especially your fish tacos. You're gonna sprinkle some pico de gallo, spritz some lemon on there. All that acid that you're adding to that white fish, you're going to need acid in your wine to match it, okay? So you need those higher acid whites. And yes, Sam, I'm glad you love Verdejo. I do too. And I'm realizing it's been too long since I've had a Verdejo. So I'm going to need to reach out to my buddies and see if I can get some ordered. Okay, guys, so we've done pregame. We've done chicken. We've done fish. Now we need to talk about the all-American apple pie. All right? Apple pie for 4th of July. I love, love, love this. So people are probably going to see this pairing and poo-poo it. So let's talk for a sec. Everybody take a drink, take a deep breath. You see the word Moscato and a lot of people freak out. So let's take a breath, take a drink. Let's talk about apple pie Moscato, okay? This is not Yo Mama's Moscato. This is not that trashy. I shouldn't say that. It's not trashy. Sometimes it can be a very simple wine that is too sweet, it's a lot of people's entry into wine. So I shouldn't poo-poo it. That's my fault. I take it back. I love that Moscato is a lot of people's entry point into learning more about wine. So some people, they need the training wheels. I was there too. Back in the day, I didn't really like Moscato, but I did like Sweet Riesling. It was kind of my entry level. For a lot of people, it's Franzia. Those wines I don't care for anymore. Now, I say this is not Yo Mama's Moscato because it's Moscato d'Asti, meaning from the region of Asti. Asti is in Piedmont, where they make Barolo and Barbaresco, some of the finest wines in the world. So the producers that are making this wine are giving up land that they could otherwise plant really profitable varieties on, and they're making Moscato. So, not only are they good at making wine, they're also giving up some land that could be used for more profitable wines, more profitable grapes. It's got to be worth the sacrifice. So specifically seek out Moscato from Asti or Moscato d'Asti, okay? The great thing about this is it is a little bit frizzante, which is like not quite fully sparkling. It's what the Italians call their lightly sparkling wines. So this little bit of frizzante is actually going to help cut through the richness of your apple pie. It's also going to carry, because of the residual sugar and the Moscato grape, it's going to carry a little bit of this almost like vanilla cream. So if you do ice cream with your apple pie, which why aren't you doing vanilla ice cream with your apple pie? I don't know. You should be. It's going to cut through the creaminess, but it's also going to help accentuate that vanilla flavor. And then it's going to bring along to that stone fruit apple. So apple, right? It's going to bring some stone fruits like pear, notes to accentuate the apple, to go alongside it. So for me, the Moscato d'Asti is a no-brainer. Everybody's going to love it. And get this, guys, it's only like 5.5%, 6% alcohol. So you're at the end of the day, you're having dessert. You don't want this like intensely heavy wine. You just want something to go really nicely with that apple pie. And for whatever reason, it's coming from Piedmont, from, the foot of the mountains in Northwest Italy. Like, who would have thunk it? For an American holiday, this would be it. So Moscato d'Asti, go get it. It's also super cheap. So you want to do that with apple pie. All right. Now, if you're asking which brand of Moscato do you recommend, just make sure it says Moscato d'Asti. And if it's saying that and it made it to the US, it's got to be in like a group of like 3 probably producers. If I remember, I want to say Vietti makes my favorite one. So look out for Vietti. I can't remember off the top of my head. You shouldn't be, in my opinion, for the sake of July 4th, you shouldn't be getting any other Moscato except Moscato d'Asti. If it doesn't say d'Asti from it, if it's not from the region of Asti, you don't buy it. Don't pair it with your apple pie. It's probably not that good. Okay. If it's Moscato d'Asti and it's made it to the US, not a lot of them do, you want to buy it. It's good and it's not expensive. And I'm probably going to go get some in the next day or two now that I'm thinking about this, because I want this pairing. Okay, guys, we talked about Madeira yesterday, and I have a bonus white wine pairing based on Madeira. So what is one of those? Everybody's probably doing it on July 4th. I mean, we do hamburgers and hot dogs. And so tomorrow we're going to do your 4th of July food pairing for red wines. So there's going to be a lot of talk about meat and red meat specifically. But don't sleep on one of my unexpected, but I think incredible pairings for grilled steak. And here it comes. So if you really want to blow people's minds, I want you to go out and find a bottle of Sercial Madeira. Okay, guys. Yesterday we talked about Madeira being fortified, so they add neutral spirit during fermentation, leaving residual sugar. So you start to think, oh, is D recommending a dessert wine with my grilled steak for July 4th? So let's be careful here. Remember, Sercial was the driest version of all the Madeiras. It is also the one that is highest in acid. Okay, it is literally translates. I remember to like the gosh, it's like the bite of the dog or something like that. I can't quite remember. If any of my nerdy wine friends are out there, they remember the translation for Sercial. It is so intensely acidic that it actually comes across as dry and is really great for savory food pairing. And guys, this burnt sugar, remember we talked about the Madeira gets heated, and so it takes on this like burnt sugar flavor. That burnt sugar flavor with the flavor of the crust on a grilled steak, along with the acid to cut through the meat, is going to blow your mind. Okay, go do this. You're like, I would say, like, surprise yourself, surprise your friends. Don't tell them what it is, and just say, hey, take a bite of that steak, try a little bit of this. Remember, you're not pouring a ton. Don't pour a full glass of wine like I'm about to do with my skeleton key, like, because it's really high in alcohol. It's like 19%, almost 20% sometimes. So throw everybody for a loop. Get a little bit of Sercial Madeira. It has to be Sercial, okay? Has to be Sercial. And try and find one that either has a vintage date on it or at least a number of years, like 5-year, 10-year, 15-year. And remember, you don't have to drink it all that day, guys. It lasts forever. Okay, it's already been oxidized. It's already been heated. There's nothing you can do to it that'll hurt it. So it can sit in your fridge forever. You can just have like a tiny little glass a week if you want. And I've still got some from 6 months ago. I talked about yesterday, Sercial specifically. So go do this. I think you're going to blow people's mind. This is something I'm really excited about. I might try and source another bottle of Sercial. I got to find it somewhere. So very, very excited. Dog choker. Jeffrey looked it up. Thank you. I knew it was something like dog biter or something. So Sercial is called the dog choker grape. This what the name translates to, and it's because the acidity is so high in that grape. Okay, guys, go do that. I'm not going to say it anymore. It is time for me to give you these three things. While I am grabbing those, I want to know, which one of these pairings are you going to try on July 4th? I want you to respond in the comments. I'm going to throw this up on the screen. Which one of these pairings that we talked about today? Remember, we got pregame, we got 3 kinds of chicken, we got our 2 kinds of fish, we got our apple pie, and even got the grilled steak bonus. So I want to know, which of these pairings do you want to try for July 4th this year? And I'm going to pull up these 3 things while you guys are answering that. Cheers, happy hour, happy July 4th week, happy white wines are going to make your weekend amazing. Da-ba-da-da. These 3 things. First up, I'm still not seeing. I want to know what white wine pairings are you guys going to try, guys? Y'all got to let me know in the comments. First thing, these 3 things. If you are bummed because you can't see us in high, because we're bummed because we can't see you, we are now doing private virtual tastings, guys. How cool is that? Private virtual tasting. We're going to bring the tasting room to your living room. We are going to get our tasting room ambassadors to share wines with you. You can hang out with them. They're going to guide you or a group of friends and family through an interactive tasting. Sign up at that link that's right there in the comments. We want to host you, and we are very excited to be launching this brand new experience. Be one of the very first ones. I got to train our staff on best practices for Zoom this morning, and they are pumped to hang out with you guys. All right. Second up of these 3 things, Curbside is now open with new extended hours, guys. We've been talking about this all week. Because the tasting room is closed, we've extended the hours you can pick up curbside. So even if you didn't already order your virtual tasting pack for Friday, and it might not get there in time for you to participate with Chris, Catherine, and Chef Ty, you can order it and pick it up curbside, right? So go check that out. Go see our smiling friends at the vineyard. Take the drive, guys. The drive's going to be incredible. I did it yesterday. I highly recommend it. Last and certainly not least, before I do the third thing and I cheers, I want to see what people are saying. It looks like everybody is really digging this apple pie pairing. Asha's saying maybe Picpoul or Vinho Verde with grilled chicken. Mary says apple pie. Bill's going to do some Chardonnay. Leah's in for the fried chicken and champagne. Always wins. Don't sleep on chicken nuggets either. Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets and champagne. Did that at a wine party last year. Blew everybody's mind. Sam's on that bandwagon. Champagne and fried chicken. Yo, I might even do that tonight. See if I can find, I don't know, T22 in Austin. That's what I'm going to do. T22 and some champagne. Gosh, that sounds good. Okay, guys. D's third thing. You know I'm going to be right here tomorrow. We're going to do happy hour again, except it's going to be red wine July 4th pairing. So come ready with your questions. I want to know what you're eating. I want to be able to help you find good wines for it. We're going to be drinking, and by we, I mean me, 2019 Mourvedre-Carignan Rose, and we're going to learn about everything July 4th red wine pairings. Before we go, it's time to cheers to. I was talking with my friend Blair, who has a little girl, and she said, man, if you get a chance to shout out daycare teachers right now, they are heroes in my mind. And so I want to shout out all the folks out there who are taking care of kiddos. Many of my friends who've had to go back to work and or never stopped going to work and have to have somebody to watch their kids during the day. They get to drop their kids off at daycare. Those daycare teachers are heroes right now. So I just want to say thank you to all the daycare teachers out there for watching the kiddos, for teaching them during this time. We love you. We're thankful for you. Cheers to all of you who joined. I love. Leah, go get some T22. Go look it up. Best fried chicken in Austin, in my opinion. All right. Cheers, guys. We love you. Bye-bye. So good.